I, 48F, don't want to attend my daughter's 27F wedding. I was in a seemingly healthy marriage for 16 years. People loved my ex-husband, including my parents. They thought the world of him. We had 3 children together and adopted 3 more older children. Our marriage wasn't romantic, but we had a very healthy family life, and that seemed like enough. Towards the end I found out he was a serial cheater, which my own mother blamed me for. This is relevant. And he did some things that made me realize he was not the man I thought he was. But nothing criminal to my knowledge at that point. I ended up divorcing him, and I was seen as the horrible one because he was loved so much. This was the case even with my parents. A couple years after the divorce he was arrested for doing some horrible, awful, terrible predatory things. The stuff of nightmares. He's now going to spend the rest of his life in prison. It was a nightmare for us all, and I've spent the last 5 years doing everything I can to build up my kids and help them through the grief. And they are doing very well. I'm so proud of all of them. My mother, my own freaking mother, has decided that she's going to try to get my kids in contact with their father. I have told my kids that I will stand by them if they ever wanted to contact him. But I would encourage them to do so with the help of a therapist that I have offered to pay for. My ex is a truly horrible sociopath and very manipulative. It's dangerous for them to have that contact. My mom has violated my wishes and made it her life's mission to teach my kids that they need to forgive their dad. I am not a hateful person, but I also think it's important to keep my kids safe from dangerous people. My mom is relentless and will not leave it alone, even when my kids have told her to leave them alone. As a result, I no longer speak to my mother at all. She is blocked on all my younger kids' devices because she won't stop. So my oldest daughter is getting married next year. She is a great person, very loving and kind, but because of the trauma she's been through in her life, prior to her becoming my daughter, along with the situation with her dad, is very easily manipulated and super compliant. My mother has done a job on her, and my daughter is now in contact with her dad. I don't begrudge her that, but my mom is heavily involved in it all. I've spoken my piece to my daughter and have told her I'm here for her in any way I can be. Here's the thing. My mom is very involved in my daughter's life. My mom is helping to plan the wedding and I'm being left out of it. Fine. Whatever. But that's not why I don't want to go to the wedding. I simply do not want to ever see my mother again, and I don't want her around my younger children. I actually think it's a truly dangerous situation. I need to protect their peace. I want so much to be at my daughter's wedding, but I think I am going to have to decline if my mother's there. In fact, it will be my whole family, and they've been truly horrid to me. They all feel sorry for my mom because I don't speak to her. I have no doubt if I attended it would be horrible and I would be subjected to a lot of emotional abuse. What is the best way I can support my daughter in this situation? I don't want to give her an ultimatum. That feels cruel. And not attending feels very cruel. How can I work through this? Do I just go and do my best to keep my distance from my family, keeping my fingers crossed that nothing bad happens? Or is it okay to explain all this to my daughter, knowing it will certainly lead to her being hurt and being closer to my mother? I am so conflicted on what is the right thing to do here. You say your daughter is getting married next year? Start therapy now. See someone regularly with the focus being how you will cope on this day, how you will respond to unwanted remarks or interactions, and how you will be there for your daughter. Do not let your mother take away this moment for you. Show up at your best self. Work through your feelings before it even happens. And know that you can leave at any time after all the important things have happened. Ceremony, speeches, dinner, first dances, etc. Make sure to have a therapy appointment schedule for the immediate days following the wedding so You are prepared with help right away. While I condemn what your mom's done, this is about how to support your daughter. I think you can best support her by showing up for her and being as cordial as possible with your mother. You don't have to interact with her. You don't have to acknowledge she's there. I think not showing up to her wedding is going to harm your relationship with your daughter, and it'll only make her lean on grandma more. I can understand why you wouldn't want to go, but I feel like you would be giving the rest of the family a big win by not going. If you can go and be civil, I would go and support your daughter. Explain to her well in advance you may leave early if they really lay into you to the point where you can't keep your composure. And BTW. If any of your family do bring up the ex-husband, I would continually repeat, there is no reason for my children to have contact with a convicted, who, and insert worst thing he was found guilty of doing. Quote, I find with people who don't listen, repeating my main point over and over again bores them until they walk away. Do not miss your daughter's wedding. Your mom will only use this against you to prove to your child she was right. Get a restraining order against your mom for your younger kids and suggest other kids do the same. Pretend your mother doesn't exist when you are at the wedding. And don't bring your younger kids to the wedding. They don't need to be in her presence. The problem is that if you don't go, you're proving them right that you're a bad mother. That's the biggest ammo you can possibly give them. First of all, ask to be seated with her husband's family instead of yours. Just say you want to get to know them better. If anyone in your family comes up to you and tries to embarrass you in front of his family, just tell them that your daughter's day is not the day to have this fight. Repeat yourself. If necessary, leave. Don't bring your other kids. Also consider dyeing your hair and just looking as unrecognizable as possible for the day. Ask to get a photo with your daughter away from all the crowd before the ceremony starts. I wouldn't bring any young children with you. If they're teenagers, they're old enough to decide for themselves. Go to therapy. If you miss this, you'll regret it. At the same time, if, in a year, after all of the therapy, you still feel the cons are too much, it's okay. Just make sure your daughter knows you live her, and it is 100% about your mother and not about her. You slip on at the last minute. See the ceremony. Make sure she sees you. And slip out before anyone gets a chance to start any beef with you. Tell your daughter you love her and are proud of her and happy for her. Tell her that you didn't want to take the chance of making a scene, so you left before the reception. And that she was a beautiful bride. I mean, I see a little bit of the point where comments are coming from with needing to support your daughter at her wedding. However, I do not think the comments are taking into account if you are at the wedding your mom will cause a scene. She will make it about her. It will not be your daughter's wedding. I think you are in a tough place because going to your daughter's wedding will be important to her. However, I would be afraid her day would be overrun with drama going on in life right now, so it's difficult to say. I think you should tell your daughter and encourage her to get therapy. Ask her what she wants at the end of the day. Like, really, what does she want? She gets to make her decisions, and I think I'd leave it to her with what you decide. If you just can't bring yourself to at least go to the ceremony, you tell your daughter that you love her, so you won't ask her to choose between you and her grandmother. Instead, you will stay home with the younger kids and would love to have her and her new husband over for dinner sometime after their honeymoon to celebrate. Talk to a therapist yourself, even for a few sessions. Make a game plan. Your older daughter deserves to have her day and your support. Maybe in time she sees the coercion with your mom and her dad, and further alienating now her won't help. Plan how to shield yourself while attending. I suggest coming up with a game plan for stress, breathing techniques, or other tools for grounding yourself. A list of cordial non-committal phrases and replies for any digging your mom or others do things like, "It's Daughter's Day. Doesn't she look wonderful?" and redirect the conversation. Maybe you can find a friend to come with you and be your date to have as a shield as well. Okay, this is way above Reddit pay grade. Find a therapist who specializes in trauma. Ask your daughter to go with you. Even if she refuses, go yourself and find a way to attend her wedding sans your other kids. Get a sitter for the younger kids to protect their peace while still being supportive towards your daughter. You should go without your children. Bring your toughest, most assertive friend as a +1. Only attend the ceremony. And have your friend run interference. I'm so very sorry you've had to go through this. Send her a letter explaining all of this, making sure to show her your love and support. Make sure to explain why you cannot attend, but under no circumstances allow things to become confrontational or demand concessions. Just read all of the comments and universally, they disagree with me. I stand with you that non-attendance is the path to take. BTW. The reason I suggest a letter is so you can carefully craft your message and no one dan interrupt you. I think you should support your daughter by going to the wedding. But prep for it. https psychcentral.com/health/greyrock method. The Grey Rock method might help. When I have to be around my mother, I prepare a list of talking points. Generic, bland, meaningless topics to discuss. We had an eclipse recently. Were you able to view it? There was a crafts fair in town over the weekend. I viewed XYZ. I started a new book recently about mosses. Usually she ends up changing the subject so I don't have to say much. Also, I have verbal and visual cues with my husband. Pulling on my hair means, "Come rescue me." We have a lot to do tomorrow, means we need to leave right now. Go to your daughter's wedding. You will regret it more than having to see your mother there. You have a lot of emotions at the moment, and rightfully so, but you are letting others, mother and ex-husband, interfere in your relationships. That is their goal. Don't let it be. You can't miss the important events in your children's lives because of your mom. Have an honest heart-to-heart with your daughter about your concerns, making it clear it's not about her but about keeping everyone safe. Then maybe you can work out a compromise, like attending just the ceremony or a separate celebration. Good luck. Sparkling heart. You need to speak with your daughter. Tell her what you said in this post. Also tell her that your mother isn't safe for her younger siblings and they cannot be around her either. I bet your mother is paying for some of this, which is why your daughter is allowing it. 2 contenders for worst problem I've ever faced as a mom. Trying to protect one of my kids from another one of my kids. And trying to protect them from themselves. Talk to your daughter. Alone and calmly. Explain to her that you love her completely and that never changes. But you're in a tough spot. Here's why. And here's what that means. Your first priority above all else is protecting your minor children. Even if it's against her and her choices. No matter what anyone else tells her. She needs to hear it all from you. She's an adult. Don't pull any punches. Then you have to let her do what she's going to do. And that is so hard to do. But she has to make her own decisions and you have to let her. Just make sure they're informed decisions. She knows you love her. And that you have her back if she needs you. You're doing it all right. Doesn't mean it's going to feel good. I would go to your daughter's wedding if you can. You shouldn't have to miss such an important day of your daughter's life just because of your mother. I would look at Grey Rock method and work with your therapist about health ways to cope with being around her and rest of your family. You also don't need to go for the whole day and just attended the wedding and skip out on the Reception.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.